What's going on, family? Thanks for hopping on. So I'm going to bring on my buddy, Eddie Moon. This guy he does everything that has to do with anything with engagement online. He's a vlogger. He leads a dance group, V3, which probably some of y'all already checked out. So he's been a good buddy of mine, doing ministry with me for quite some time. And I just wanted to pick his brain on how do we become more engaging as the church online. He's been doing it before even this whole pandemic thing. So I just wanted to hop on with him. And so I hope you guys have your coffees with you. So I'm going to bring him on right now. Here we go. What's going on, Eddie? How you doing, brother?
Good. How about you?
Good. So I see that you got kind of your coffee. I got my coffee here. I don't know if that's water, but
it's water.
You drink a lot of coffee if you put it in that thing.
I have my coffee as well coming up.
That's good, man. So welcome. Thanks for being on with us. So I just, like I told everybody, and some of you probably seen you on video, you'll probably discuss it. You do a lot of things online, it seems, before even all this pandemic started, where everybody's kind of trying to get online right now. So why don't you just introduce yourself and the different ministries that you're in and the different stuff that you do?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Eddie. I'm currently in Orange County. I live in Buena Park, California, so I'm pretty local. I'm part of a ministry called God's Image at V3, and I also run a company called Identity. So V3 is a college dance ministry based in La Mirada, and that's kind of where I do most of my work. And then God's Image Ministry is another ministry that I'm a part of, that I've been a part of for 12, 11 years, and got a lot of my dance training and ministry background there. And then Identity is a clothing company that I started right after college. I went to Biola, and then been doing that since 2015. So I've been screen printing for a while. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you've been doing a lot. How'd you get into dance?
Yeah. So in 2009, my closest friend who came from Korea, sorry, let me take that back. 2006, my closest friend who came from Korea, he taught me. One day he was like, "Hey, you want to go learn breakdancing?" And I was like, "Sure." So we went to the gym. He taught me my first freeze, and I fell in love with breaking first. And then in 2007, I got exposed to the choreography hip hop world and started picking up that since.
So how'd you get into like the God's Image? How'd you get into those ministry? Like, did you are you the founder of V3, right? I think I said it right.
That's right. Yeah. So in 2000, it's funny actually. In 2007, my dad took us to a church event. And I saw God's Image perform. Sorry, let me take that back. 2006. My dad took me to a concert. I saw God's Image perform, and I remember thinking, like, I want to join that. And so I looked up on Google. I searched online everywhere, but I couldn't find God's Image anywhere because back then their website was outdated, their email was old, their phone number was old. And then I ended up meeting someone in God's Image at my high school. And so she introduced me to the director. I contacted her, auditioned, joined in 2006, and then after I graduated in 2009, after 2 years, I kind of explored dance a little bit, and then in 2012, I remember wanting to join a Christian dance ministry. So, but there were none at the time for a college team, so we started one locally around here,
and that was called V3.
That was called V3, yes.
So what is so there's a lot of dance, and I'm not really familiar with dance. So what is, well, I am familiar with dance, but that's that's a later conversation, you know what I'm saying? That's a different type of dance, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So what is like Christian dance, or like how do we fuse what we know as dance or choreography or hip hop or breakdancing into faith? And so the Christian faith, how do we do that? How do we display that?
That's good. So I believe that everything that we do can be used as a form of worship. It really depends on our heart, our mind, and when we enter and do those things. So the way that I like to think of so the common question that we get all the time for dance is, how can you use dance as a form of worship? And the way that I like to explain, there's two things that I do actually. One, I say, okay, well, what do you do as a profession? And remember, a friend of mine was like, I'm an aerospace engineer, and he'll explain how he does that as a form of worship. And I'll just respond by saying I do the same thing. The second way that I do, so the second thing that I say is sometimes people are asking the wrong question. It's not the question of how do you use dance as a form of worship. The question is, who do you worship? Now, when it's the same thing when people say, like, how do I lift 100 pounds? And I say, you just work out. You lift, if you can lift 100 pounds, right? You do 20, 30, 50, 70, then you lift 100 pounds. Once you're able to lift 100 pounds, you can lift all things 100 pounds. You can lift a 100-pound desk. You can lift a 100-pound car if there's 100. You know, yeah. And so for me, it's like build up your relationship with God, know and understand God's heart. And once you understand who God is and your relationship with God is strong, then you will understand how you can use dance as a form of worship. Then you can understand how you can edit videos for worship as a form of worship, eat worship, sleep worship, everything.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And so you got into this dance group called God's Image, and now you're a teacher, right? As well,
correct.
or
Yes.
And is this like a youth thing or college thing, or what is it?
Yeah, so God's Image has been established for the past 30 years almost. When this year was supposed to be our 30th year anniversary.
Wow.
Okay. But because of the whole COVID-19, we're postponing our concert. But it's been established by Sandy Byun and John Byun. They established 30 years ago. We currently have branches all over the country. We have 3 in China, 1 in Korea, Canada, Brazil, Virginia. There's a ton. Texas, San Francisco, here, 2 in LA, San Diego. But it's a dancing singing ministry for children. We start from the ages from like toddlers to all the way till high school, their senior year in high school. And we have different sections and different ministries for each age group. They sing, they dance. Every Saturday we meet up and they train. And then we go out to perform at places that we get invited to.
That's good.
Yeah. And then from there we sing and share testimonies. And it becomes really powerful for cities that are not familiar with children's singing or children's dancing. And we go on tour every summer, and that really opens the eye up to different worlds. So like when we go to Korea and perform at churches, it's such a blessing. When we go to Brazil, it's beautiful.
Right. Yeah. That's good, man. Yeah, because and V3 is like the, what do you call it, like the varsity level,
like the college team, the college group, because God's Image goes only until you're 18 years old.
That's right.
And so I remember people leaving and they would join like these college teams, and I didn't want that. That broke my heart. When you see like God's Image members kind of straying away from their faith after joining these collegiate dance teams. And so that's why V3 was started, because I didn't want that to happen. I wanted that.
That's right.
Platform available. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as, you know, like you get good leaders. I mean, you get good youth group, and then you want them to stay as leaders. But if you don't have like the training for that or the space to train that, like they just stray off. Right.
That's right.
And, you know, it's not like, you know, straying off is a bad thing, but it sometimes, you know, people go find their faith, come back stronger. But people don't find their faith, and then they get lost forever, right? Yeah. And so we just want to create a space where, you know, we're trying to do everything that we can to keep them in their faith, not just keep them, right? Guide them in their faith, right? That's what we want to say. Guide them in their faith and continue to serve them as, you know, faithful, mature, older, I guess, leaders, right? So yeah, that's good. You know, I think you have a heart of equipping, you have a heart of empowerment, and I know V3 has performed some of the stuff that I've done in the past, and sometimes, like, you know, sometimes as a leader you weren't there, but you had other leaders already prepared and they were just on it. You know what I mean? So sometimes we feel like, or sometimes when we call upon somebody that is a leader and we're like, you're not going to be there. Oh, I don't know, man. So how much prepared is the people going to be? But as soon as like they stepped in and did it, like I was like, oh snap. Like, you know, Eddie prepared them well. And after that I was like, Eddie, I don't think I need you. No, I'm just messing. I still need you, brother. Yeah, that's good. So we got dance. All right. Wow. Now we're going to go into shirts. How'd you get into that?
Yeah, in 2012, I remember when V3 first started, we needed shirts. I remember looking online, and my goodness, t-shirts, custom t-shirts is so expensive, especially if you're just ordering like 8. And so I thought they were overpriced, and I was like, okay, what does it need for it in my community? At that time, my church was really small. We were about 20 members. And so I wanted to fill that white space up. I was like, all right, if no one screen prints that I know around my area, I'm going to learn it. And I'm going to be the one. I want to be the one to provide these shirts for God's image, for my church, and for V3. So I picked up, I remember I borrowed $500 from my mom. I used the $500 that I had, everything that I had, bought my first equipment, and just started off in my bedroom. And then it was supposed to be just a hobby, but eventually people found out that I printed, and I started printing for people, and word spread. I've been doing it since.
I know I've gotten some t-shirts from you, and it's good stuff, and you're on time, and I think that's important. I mean, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, but you know, if I need it by Thursday, I need it by Thursday. You know what I mean? And so, no, you've been really cool, and you've been very supportive. And I just wanted to plug this in because, you know, my passion is obviously reaching out because we are both Korean. And so reaching out to be multicultural, to be multi-ethnic, to broaden. And it seems like, and I'm not going to say that the Korean church doesn't want to do that, but there can be some challenges with the first generation's mindset of how do we do this? And so maybe they're not equipped, which is fine. But it seems like, Eddie, you have a heart to also continue to reach out, because not only have I seen you do stuff with me, but I've seen you do stuff with my Black brothers and sisters in their community. And I've seen you other places. So, you know, where does that fit in your ministry, and how do you communicate that to your team? Hey, yes, we might be primarily Asian American, but we're not just primarily Asian American, right? We're the body of Christ. So how do you communicate that?
Yeah. So you're talking about like ethnicity,
right? Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, V3. I mean, we first started off as a bunch of Koreans. We were 8 Koreans, and I remember thinking, it can't be this way. We can't just be a team filled with just Koreans, or else we're not going to understand different culture. We're not going to understand how to talk in different churches and different settings. And so I remember my heart being like, V3 has to be more than this. It has to be more than this. Like in terms of like character, because our culture was so set on the same way. We're always late. We always loiter. We always are not structured. We don't write things in paper. And so we needed to change that. And so I remember when we held auditions, we would start to accept non-Koreans, and then start off as like Filipinos and Hispanics and whites and now blacks. And we're just open to anybody. And we want to show that to the church, saying that, hey, like you can stick with just the Koreans, but you're going to be very limited in that way. So for example, like another analogy that I like to use is like strategy. Strategies can always change, but the value and the mission we should be married to, the value of Christ, the mission of Christ, be married to that. But the strategy, how we reach the gospel, how we reach people, how we share the gospel can change. So that's why we incorporate a lot of different art. And so in churches, we want to share the value of arts as well. Hey, like dance can be used to share the gospel. When we go perform at non-Christian events, people come up to us and we start conversations, build relationship, become friends on Facebook, on Instagram. Then we sustain that relationship, and later on they come out to our workshops. We talk to them longer. Let's see what else. Painting and video, art, design. These are all tools you can use to reach out to people of different skills. In the same way, a different ethnic group will reach out and draw in different types of people. Because if we're just only Koreans, we're only going to attract Koreans. Nothing wrong with that. But we can reach out to more. So the fact that we had a black sister brought in another black sister. The fact that we had a Filipino brother brought in more Filipinos. White brought in more white. And so it broadens our reach being just outside of a Korean group.
That's good, man. You know, you're giving me chills, brother. You about to make me cry with your preaching right now. You know, it's challenging to continue to cross those cultural barriers. It's challenging because, you know, we got everything in the world just saying we shouldn't be doing that. But if we see the whole canon of the gospel, we are meant to be doing that. You know what I mean? Continuing to expand our limited mind with the power of the Holy Spirit to go on and preach the gospel in all nations and tongues. And that's beautiful, Eddie. And that's why one of the things that I wanted to continue to serve with you and work with you, because man, I remember one time I was speaking at a Hispanic church, and I walked in and I was like, I saw you, and I was like, what the heck, what is Eddie doing here, dude? And then I was like, oh man, he's the real deal, brother. So I was like, okay, that's cool, man. And then so segue with what you were saying. You were saying how you were the strategy, right? I love what you said. The strategy can change, but the mission and vision value is the same as who we are in the body of Christ. How are you doing that online? Because I see you online all the time. You also vlog, right? So you can talk about about that. So yeah, so start with that and then continue on how you've engaged with your audience, and maybe later on we could talk about how the church can do that too, because I know we've talked about that also.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So in 2016, V3 was a lot smaller back then, but I remember we built up an audience globally. So we started having viewers from Brazil, Philippines, just different countries all over the world. And but we've had just one face of V3, like, hey, we're a dance team, but we're more than that.
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there. How did you get those views?
Okay,
like,
that's
how did the global see V3?
Got it. So in 2012, we released our first video, and I have to go back to the dates.
No, it's all good.
I mean, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I remember the first when 8 of us first started and then we made our debut. I told the team, we're gonna do it on YouTube. We're gonna do it on YouTube because we're gonna build a platform on YouTube. We're gonna build our followings on YouTube. It's gonna be our funnel to bring people in to show the world who we are. People were thinking that I was crazy. Like I remember like my V3's like ultimate platform, YouTube, all that stuff. And it's because video can have reach. Like video can have reach in different countries, in different parts of the world that we physically cannot be at. When we're sleeping, we can get a couple thousand views but we don't have to be present. And so when we started our YouTube channel in 2012, we just uploaded consistently. Eventually got to where we are now. I don't even know how many subscribers or viewers we have right now, but
yeah, I think you have like over 10. I don't know. You have a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so we built a following there, and then we just continuously uploaded. We get comments of how encouraged they were, and then from there, I remember thinking, okay, we have we're people too. And so, you know, because when you look at these dance groups and celebrity groups, you think they're up here and you're down here. But the reality is, no, we're just regular people that have jobs, that have bills to pay, that struggle with the same things. And I wanted to show that authentic side of V3 through different ways. And so I started vlogging in 2012. It was the most, 2016. It was the most it was a big, bold step for me because I was really nervous. I was afraid of judgment, what people might think. I was afraid I would get no views. And that was fine with me. So I started vlogging, introducing myself as the director of V3 and God's image teacher and identity clothing company guy, Eddie. And we just started documenting my life, just documenting my process, just sharing my life through like, hey, this is how it looks like when we perform. This is what it looks like when we go on retreats. Sharing that, and people would find out. People who found out about V3 would find out about my channel, or people who would find out about my channel would find out about V3. It kind of worked that way, and it was crazy too because people found out about me would find out about God's image, and so people who joined, members of V3 and God's image, would join because they would find my vlogs on those ministries. So yeah, that's kind of the journey. Sorry, I know there was more questions too, but I might.
Yeah, no, that's a good first part. And so yeah, so I think some of the takeaways I got was first you were consistent, and you try to be authentic as you can, and then just trying to say. And I love the part where you said, you know, some of these videos that we see about dance groups or like celebrities, they're so high up here, but they're people, and that's what you want to show, the people side of any group, which makes it real, but also, yeah, like you said, scary as the person that's showing it. But but I think we have to consistently be okay to be in that space. If not, that we're just trying to cover everything else up with whatever we have, job or, or other things in life. And so Eddie, so the second part was, how do you think the church can be more engaging? Now, the church, what I mean, the church is like such a big step. Like, what do you mean by the church? Like, does the pastor do it, or who's the one that's actually doing it? But I think if we think about church as one body, as the entity of one body, how do you think that the church can be more engaging in this time online? I know everybody's stringing worship, right? I know everybody's trying to do that, but my difficulty in challenging is watching this is people are just streaming their worship services, right? So whatever you see on Sundays is just a mirror. But I think the online platform can be used more than that, can be more engaging, right? If not, it's just another TV show, and after a while you get bored of TV shows, you know what I mean? And so how do you think, and we've talked about this, but how do you think now the church can be more engaging online, or just not more, just engaging online, period?
That's a difficult question.
Well, you answered it already, so just
yeah. You know what? There's a ton of ways. Again, the strategy, there can be a million ways you can do this. But the way I think would be the most efficient is, I think every church should start. It's gonna sound funny, but start vlogging. The pastor, I feel like, should start vlogging. Not the members can. So I think, like, if I was a pastor of a church, I would say, hey, Jim, can you start vlogging? But can you start vlogging our services? Can you start vlogging the pre-recordings? Can you start vlogging before and after? And just start sharing those, because those are things that people can relate to, right? People can relate to your weaknesses and your struggles and the process, but the final product, it's very hard to relate to sometimes. And so sharing that, but it's important to share shareable content. That's the hardest part. So everything needs to be curated well. So it's always about the execution, right? And so this is like very practical tips: upgrade cameras, because people don't like watching camera qualities that are lower. It's hard to be engaged in that. So upgrade your cameras, upgrade your audio, because it's better to watch lower quality video but high quality audio versus a high quality video and low quality audio. Audio quality is really important. But that's it. Yeah, it's really taking advantage of Instagram. So for I'll actually use V3 as an example of what we're doing during this time. We're doing Instagram lives with different guests, and just like you, we invite guests over. We have 1 hour with them on Instagram and engage with them. But we don't just talk about dance. We talk about music. We talk about art. We talk about a very broad spectrum of art. And then we'll also do online workshops. So usually on our channel, we would post videos of us dancing, but we're like, no, we have to change that. We have to engage with our audiences by posting dance tutorials and allowing them to record themselves, sharing that on their Instagram, and then we would reply to it, we would repost it, we'd engage with their audience, they'd bring their audience to us, and so we build a bigger audience that way. And so doing things a little differently, doing things like worship services are great. I think posting once a week worship services, yes, do that for the church, for your church, but then to be engaged with your church, you can do. So for GI, we meet every Saturday, but we do things on a daily basis. On Tuesday, we do like a hangout group. So we'll meet on Zoom, we'll eat, we'll talk, we'll just hang out, we'll play games. On Wednesday, we have movie nights. On Thursday, we have special events. So all the staffs rotate. We host like special events, like like my wife did makeup on me and I did makeup on her. Like
makeup on, brother?
I'll never, just that one time. And then we do like these special events, and Saturdays and then Monday we have international worship nights. So all the branch teams gather on Zoom, and we'll have worship beautiful. And we'll have a guest speaker. So we do these, we changed our strategy during these times to be engaged with our people, but also be able to invite other people from outside, especially with parents.
That's good. Yeah, because you've done some dance video tutorials. I've seen that. So yeah, it seems like it's super engaging. I've seen a lot of people on that. And so I mean, what's your thoughts on what's going to happen, after COVID? I know that we're slowly coming in to, like, they're opening stores here and there, and churches are going to start opening up slowly. How do you think the online or social media is going to be continuing to be part of, or or how, yeah, how do we continue to use the social media platform to be part of the church, right? Because before it seems like online or social media was more for like advertisement and marketing, but now we're figuring out, wow, this is a whole nother community. So when we open back up, do you feel like it's going to go away or it's going to continue to go off? So what do you think is going to happen?
I think it should continue on. The funny thing is, before the pandemic, before COVID-19, people use social media platform as a way to stream their online services to reach other parts of the world as well.
Mhm.
But right now we've been forced to do that. We are forced to do these things. People that took up social media before all this were the ones that grew a lot. Their companies grew a lot. Their engagements, their following, their everything was. But now we're forced to do that, and I think people are now understanding the fruits and the advantages of social media. And I hope after all this, that churches and ministries will continue to take advantage of this platform to grow their followings or grow their engagement or whatnot. I think it's important that people continue, because it would sadden me if everything went back to normal, in the sense of like no one uses. Like, I love Zoom, for example. Like, Zoom is something that I didn't really use. I use a little bit here and there before all this, but right now I use it a lot. And it's been the best thing ever, because as the director, I've been able to meet with all of my V3 members one-on-one through Zoom. I scheduled a meeting with all of them. Whereas before, like, it was so hard to meet with them because of my time. Like, I would have to drive out, meet somebody, pay $5 for a coffee, talk. It can go for like 3 hours, and then we leave. But then on Zoom, I'm able to schedule, 30-minute meetings, hard 30 minutes, 1 hour. We meet, and for the first time in my life, I've been able to meet with all my members, and it's been great.
Yeah.
So I hope churches can take advantage of this platform, this online platform.
Yeah. Have you seen like a significant jump on your views as well during this time, or?
Yes and no. It's actually funny, because right now, a lot of if you look at the online world, there are three sectors that go up a lot. It's the how to craft world, and it's the financing world, and the news, like the COVID-19 news and all that stuff. And so that's kind of what's going up. In the beginning, like, I think the first 2 weeks, our engagement and our views were going up a lot. But as this goes long, there's only so much a person can consume and be online.
Interesting.
And so, because as humans, we're made to interact with people.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, if anything, churches can use video and media and Instagram and social media to draw in future members to the church. So the church would be, every Sunday meet, do their activity on the weekdays, but the video would funnel in everybody into their actual physical location. That would be probably the best strategy. Yeah. Yeah, that's how V3 does it. We post out videos, we post out Instagram posts, we do all that to reach people in different cities. And then when we have live events, like live workshops or shows, we bring them to the physical location, because we built up a relationship through social.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So what's going on in the future for you guys, for V3 and for the dance community? And yeah, so what's going on?
Yeah, so for V3, we're working on something to teach online workshops to different people in the world, but through Zoom. That's something that we've been thinking about. A lot of people do it right now. It's not new, but we want to do it in a way where it offers mentorship and a set, like, 4-week course. And so we're building a course right now. Ultimately, we would love to be kind of like the central hub for arts and faith. That would be like the ultimate goal, because right now we just dance, but we want to broaden that out to different parts. So we're doing that one by one, like photos, then videos, then social. Eventually, we want to right now we're working to host weekly events. Before all this, we were going to start, but that's being postponed. Every week, we want to invite artists who do what they do as a profession and share how they do it for the kingdom. And it's going to be free events. We're going to have speakers, keynote speakers. They'll come to the location. They'll listen. They'll get to meet the speakers. So that's something we're doing as well. We want to have a blog site. or we're gonna have a blogging section. We started a podcast about 4 weeks ago, and we've been uploading episodes there. It's called the Bread Podcast. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Anchor. So yeah, that's been really cool.
Yeah. So and so I'm guessing that for these live events in the future, you'll be looking for people that you can partner with, right?
Yes.
And so if they want to partner with you, where can they find you? Where can they find on social media? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can just go to the V3 Dance on Instagram. I know the V3 Dance. V3 Dance wasn't available, so we just took the V3 Dance. Yeah, and then or you can find so that's on YouTube, Instagram, or you can find me on Eddie Moon on YouTube, or at MOON, or on Instagram. Yeah, or v3dance.com, and you can just give us an email and partner up with, and just send an email. Just let us know what you do. Right. And then we'll just, talk, start a conversation, and go from there.
That's awesome, Eddie. You know what? Hey, thanks, brother, for, taking this time to talk about your life and your faith and how you incorporate that with the arts, because, it can be a struggle for some people to, when we talk about, like, what does it mean to be multicultural? A lot of just people think race and color of your skin, but it's more than that, right? It's more than it's it's the other arts, it's the other things, it's the other passions that people have. And I think the church needs to create space for that, right? I think the church needs to have more avenues where people, because if we think about who God is not just one thing in a box for one type of people, for one type of place. God is creative. God is universal. And so our minds, wherever we reach, I'm sure God has expanded on that a million times more. So if we're talking about the arts, I love to draw. Well, God probably, he drew the world, you know what I mean? And so when we think about it that way, I think the church needs to, and you feel the same way, I think the church needs to create more space, and we need more people like you to say, hey, yes, we love to worship and pray and sing and do all the traditional stuff, but can we also use this room to break dance? You know what I mean? Can we also use this? Can we also use this room to do art? Can we also use this room to create movies? And so I think when we start continuing to do that, have these conversations with other leaders and other people that are in the table, I think we make change. And I love what you said again. The strategy will change, but the mission and vision will stay. I just preached a devotion on this yesterday.
You did?
I did.
Wow,
About how like, in our calling, the mission stays the same. Our mission is always the same, to preach and live the gospel of Jesus Christ, but our strategies can change time to time. And so we got to continue to live into that image that God has given us. And so, yeah, man, I love you, brother, for partnering. Is there any last words that you would like to give maybe to the audience and the leaders, or words of encouragement for out there that are saying, man, like, I love art, or I love to draw, but I don't know how, and I love Jesus. How can I put that together? Any encouraging words for those people?
I would just say start. I think people have the hardest time just starting. They're afraid that what people might say about them, or afraid of judgment, but don't. As long as you understand your identity in Christ, go for it. Just do it. And it takes time. Just always remember, every day you got to be, working towards your goal. But it took V3, 8 years, 9 years to get to where we are today. It took me 4 years, 5 years with vlogging. I picked up video when I was in elementary school, but it takes time. So be consistent. And as long as you understand your mission, keep going. Yeah. And your voice matters. I think that's the important thing. I think people think, man, I want to reach a global scale. I want to reach the entire world. I want to do, but it's like, no, you got to start with your local group first. Local versus global. Think locally, and then you'll start to reach out globally if God wills.
That's good. That's good. Hey, everybody, thanks again for hopping on to Coffee Call, and we'll see you guys again. God bless, brother.